I'm Gavin, and welcome to MLS Fantasy Picks.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. For today's video, we'll do a recap of round 6, some key considerations for round 7, and as always, our player picks and tiers. So taking a look at round 6, not my best round this year. You can see I got a 52 for round 6, so below average score, which is, also, as I say, never a good thing. Weak rank of 6,011, and my overall rank currently sits at 577 with my total score of 401. So let's take a look at the week. So yeah, as I've been saying, my bench really hasn't been hitting where the field has. That was a bit of the opposite this week. So I did have Dugan and Acosta get 7s for me, so I pulled them off the bench to replace Pedro and Bibut here as a striker. But yeah, everything else really didn't go right for me. I guess the light here is Ojeda. Ojeda's 9, great score. Also, I did see Dreyer got an assist, so it's good to see he had a goal contribution finally, but they did not allow it. Usually after point corrections, they'll add those assists here, but yeah, he's still only sitting on 5 when I think it should have been an 8, but oh well, we move on. But yeah, the duds across, so Hani, I think he missed a PK, so that's not great, so he ended on a 2. SB I thought was a fun pick. Yeah, did not work out for me. Ended up getting me a 2. And the locks for me this week with Kuipers and Yeboah, only a 2 and a 3, so not what you really like to see, but at least they got me a price rise. And then my Keeperoo also failed me. Loon at the front end, going into Pantomis, couple of fails there. Also, I just went for some basic floors here with Shaberko. Kessler was sort of a fallback option after Edwards didn't hit. So at least they got me a couple 4s. But yeah, I'm looking for big points, not really looking to just sort of stay with the pack as I am a bit behind this season. So I'll look, moving forward, maybe some more differential picks just to see if I could break away or at least increase rank a bit, as it's been a very slow start for me this season. As always, let's take a look at our MLS Fantasy Picks leagues. The Open League, still not a lot of change with our top 5. We've got Clover Street Ultras, Daniel's Dog, Starta FC, Messi Golden Boot 2025, and Latte with Extra Loth. So well done, to the top 5 here. Solid points all around. Currently sitting at 42nd, about 60 points behind that player there in first. So yeah, bit of ground to make up. Hopping over to our head-to-head league, we've got Dan Kaus FC, Brea Banditos, Hatsune Miku, Magnolia Megs, and Clover Street Ultras in our top 5 here. So only 3 undefeated teams, so very fun to see. I think I lost both, or I've lost 2 so far. So yeah, I'm sitting at 46. But yeah, well done to everyone in the head-to-head league. And some key considerations for round 7. So CONCACAF Champions Cup is picking back up again, and we've got 4 MLS teams currently in the tournament. So we've got LA Galaxy, Vancouver, LAFC, and Inter Miami all competing. So just keep an eye out for what lineups look like this week as we are moving further in the tournament. You'll probably be seeing more starters, so expect to see some rotation for those squads this weekend in the regular season. No teams on bye this week, and then as always, keep an eye out for injuries and suspensions as those are released by MLS a day or so before matches begin. So getting started with our player picks, our premium goalkeepers. I'm not really recommending any premium type of goalkeepers. You can see the most expensive right now is Joe Willis at a 9.1, and they're away at Charlotte. That early game this round, you've got Stefan, Berkey, Pantomis, Lloris. Not really huge fans of these guys. They're all away. They've got some tough matchups. Berkey is also injured. So yeah, I'm not really looking at any premium keepers this week just to free up some cash. Now looking at standard keepers, I've got a few guys this week. Definitely like Kalina on the front end of a Keeperoo. Charlotte versus Nashville. Charlotte's at home. They've got a great squad at home from an offensive standpoint. I also like Schulte as they're playing Montreal, and we all know how we feel about Montreal this season. Some other fun picks. I like a keeper at this price point would be Stuver from Austin. If I scroll up a bit here. They're playing Portland. I feel like Austin's been pretty decent defensively, and then Takaoka as well against Colorado. Colorado looked a lot better last year at home. Mihailovic is definitely clicking. But yeah, I feel like Vancouver is still pretty solid, but we will need to keep an eye out on lineups due to rotation. And looking at our budget keepers, not a whole lot to look at this week. I do like Moot still. St. Louis away at SKC. yeah, I mean, though St. Louis aren't looking too great from the attack, I still feel like their defense is pretty solid. Other than that, I would say Ustari, but I think he got injured last week, so I believe Calendar will be starting for Miami, who is quite pricey. Yeah, so not a lot of great budget keepers this week, at least for me. Then moving on to our premium defenders. So premium defenders, I do like Shaberko. He does have a good floor, and I feel like there's a decent clean sheet option or clean sheet chance against Montreal. So he may be worth it this week. Veselinovic as well, like the matchup against Colorado. Malanda, I think he's a good play. You can honestly look at other Charlotte defenders if you want to put them on the bench for a switcheroo, as they are playing Nashville at home. I feel like that's a good look. And then I still like St. Louis defense, as I said, with Lunt. Kessler, I think, is the most expensive, but you could go with some cheaper options as well. I also want to call out, I do like Wagner as well from Philly. He did have an injury last week, so he didn't play. But if he is playing, I do like that matchup for Wagner against Orlando. Moving on to our standard price defenders, I like Herrera from Columbus, similar to what I called out for Shaberko. I do like Alba. I mean, they're playing Toronto, and Alba is on the attacking side from a defensive standpoint, and I like that matchup. Ahmed as well. He's been playing out of position, so we'll see what lineups look like, but I like that matchup against Colorado. And then Byrne, cheaper option, as I said, for Malanda. I do want to call out Lennon from Atlanta. So Atlanta is playing Dallas this week. So I'm not really expecting clean sheets. Atlanta hasn't been the team that we've been looking at for clean sheets so far this season. But I do like Lennon. He's been, a fantasy asset in seasons past, so it could be a good look against Dallas. Looking at our budget defenders, so Doumbia has finally been added to the game for Columbus, so he's only 6.0 million for Charlotte, so definitely a good option to throw on your bench. Freeman for Orlando, I mean, he's not getting the clean sheets, but he still got 4 points last week. I'm expecting goals from both sides in this game, so I feel like he's a good option for that attacking upside. Tate Johnson, he got the clean sheet last week. And I like the matchup against Colorado, cheap way into Vancouver defense. I know I say to avoid RSL. This is sort of just a flyer pick for me this week, as RSL aren't known for their defense or targets this season for fantasy. Bavera is only 5.0. The Galaxy could be rotated. See what lineups look like. They're one of the early games. You could always throw them on your bench to hope for a clean sheet, but only 5.0 starter at defense. Could be a fun flyer option. Looking at our premium middies, I think we're starting to see who our big scorers are so far this season. So Rusnak definitely not letting us down. They are away at San Diego, though. You still gotta like Rusnak this season from a fantasy standpoint. Ojeda, same thing, absolutely crushing it. Evander as well at home against New England. I like the matchup. Hani, I'm not as impressed with Hani, especially when I picked him last week and he let me down. But still, I feel like, yeah, it's Hani. I don't know if it's a great shout as he's 10 million. Not my favorite pick, but an option. And then Dreyer, of course, from San Diego at home against Seattle. I was a bit upset with that assist not counting, but yeah, his bonus points are always there. Your standard price middies, still a lot of guys that I like this week. So Lucho away at Atlanta. Atlanta's been letting in plenty of goals, and Lucho's looking like the Lucho we know from fantasy, so I like him this week. McGlynn as well at home against LAFC. I feel like LAFC is going to be pretty rotated, and McGlynn got a 10 last week. Love to see that. And then Mihailovic as well. Could be on a good bit of form here against Vancouver. See how much Vancouver is being rotated. And then Philly at home against Orlando. Gazdag looked pretty good last week. Philly as a whole looked great, but yeah, just struggled. Couldn't get that win off against Miami. So I like Gazdag. And then also like Forsberg at home against Chicago, as Chicago's not the greatest defensively, and I feel like Forsberg is, the creator for the Red Bull. Midfielders that I like this week, I do like Quinn Sullivan against Orlando. Quinn has definitely stepped up a lot this week, especially in our new formation with 9 points last week, and a goal contribution against an Orlando squad that lets in plenty of goals. So I like him this week. Ranchuk as well, definitely looking a lot better against a not so strong Dallas defense. Moreno as well, getting involved. Looking good. I like that Portland matchup against Austin. He's only 7.8 away, so I don't know. Do what you like. Sebastian Berhalter put up some crazy bonus points last week. 8 points with no goals or assists, so I like to see that. And they're at home. Again, keep an eye out on lineups. And then a fun pick, I have Valakari. I called him out last week, and I think he did quite well. Let's see exactly how he did. Let me pull him over here. Valakari, San Diego. Yeah, 11 points. Some goals and assists there. So yeah, could be another good shout. They are at home against Seattle. Looking at forwards, of course, Messi. I like the matchup against Toronto, but it's the last game of the week, so you can always switch to Suarez if you need to. Benteke, San Jose versus DC. Benteke is actually looking quite good this year and still not super goal dependent, so I like him against San Jose. And on the other side, I know Chicho only put up a 2 last week, though DC's defense is not too strong. I'm expecting plenty of goals in these games. Looking at your standard price strikers, so as I said, Suarez fallback if Messi doesn't start. I do like Baribo against Orlando. I feel like there's going to be plenty of goals in this game. And then Latte Lot as well, Atlanta versus Dallas. Good game last week with 11 points. Hope he can continue that good form. Finishing off with our budget strikers, we've got Tani Luoshe from Minnesota. NYC, not the best defensively, and Tani's been in a good amount of form. Same for Ramirez. See what lineups look like, but he scored in I think the past 4 games, so we'll see if he can keep that up against a leaky RSL squad. And then Ajiman, definitely worth throwing him on your bench if you need to save a bit from a budget standpoint. At home against Nashville. Finishing off with captains, go at Rusnak, Evander, or Messi/Suarez. So Rusnak, shown why he's definitely worth the captain. Same for Evander. I may be leaning more towards Evander myself. I don't think I'm going to wait for Messi this week. But yeah, we'll have to see what lineups look like for CONCACAF Champions Cup. All right, so that wraps it up for me this week. I think it's going to be a pretty interesting one. Not a whole lot of chalk. I feel like outside of the midfield, maybe a couple of strikers that everyone's looking at this week. But yeah, premium middies definitely starting to make their mark. But definitely a lot of good options across goalkeeper and defender. There's not really a standout keeperoo or defenders that I really like this week. So yeah, I feel like it'll be an interesting week. And as always, good luck.